Good day. Welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. In your news today, new revelations have surfaced regarding discussions former Minister of Natural Resources Raffle Trotman had with senior executives from ExxonMobil. In his recently published book, Trotman shed light on the motivations as well as the true mastermind behind the controversial $18 million signing bonus in the 2016 Stabroek Block production sharing agreement. Trotman disclosed in his book that a senior Exxon executive explicitly stated that the oil giant does not hand over money to governments directly. If funds are needed, Exxon had to find a way to do it legally. According to Trotman, such discussions with Exxon executives primarily revolved around addressing the mutual interests of both parties. Trotman noted that on one hand, the government of Guyana was in need of financial and/or other support to counter Venezuela's claims for Guyana's territory. On the other hand, Exxon, alongside its partners Hess and CNOOC, wanted to extend their hold on the significantly large concession to support their long-term operations. With respect to the former APNU-AFC regime's need for funding, Trotman recounted that he was told a legal means had to be found. Trotman also explained that what had come to be known as the $18 million signing bonus was not the traditional bonus that other countries received for the development of their resources, and therefore did not attract the high numbers other nations secured. While he made the point that the $18 million signing bonus was not a typical bonus provided to countries, the former minister said a previous assessment by the International Monetary Fund still deemed it to be a fair amount for a frontier producer. And in light of the announcement that the 16-year-old girl withdrawing her rape allegation against Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel Dharam Lal, the Guyana Human Rights Association in a recent statement underscored that public interest demands a trial into the case. The association also called for the implementation of a safeguarding policy for victims of sexual abuse. On Friday, the alleged victim informed police investigators that she no longer wishes to continue the matter. We had reported that the child, who has been in protective custody for just over a week, told investigators that she no longer wants to proceed with the case. The association underscored that in their press statement that the action and inaction of politicians at every step of the way in the matter involving Minister Dharam Lal have been deferential to the offender rather than the victim. GHRA continued, despite unprecedented public revulsion over the incident, government leaders continue to see nothing in the pattern of Dharam Lal's behavior that even merits a rebuke. This non-reaction has all the hallmarks of the suspect being in position to embarrass others if action were taken against him. The Human Rights Association questioned the work of the Guyana Police Force, adding, in jurisdictions less complacent than ours about sexual assault, police acting professionally would have encouraged the victim not to give up. Added to this, it was stated that public interest considerations in the Dharam Lal case point heavily in support of the need for a trial. And in other news, Guyanese environmentalist Dr. Janet Balkan in a recent letter said that the sale by the government of Guyana of forest-based carbon credits was fraudulent. She explained that the government had no authority to sell any of the resources on the titled village lands without explicit Amerindian agreement with village level. She explained that any Amerindian village council can agree to dispose of natural resources of the titled Amerindian village lands only through compliance with sections 13, 14, 34, and 44 of the Amerindian Act. According to Dr. Balkan, these sections require a properly convened village meeting and a vote of at least two-thirds of villagers in favor of such disposal. To this end, she said, and I quote, "So far as I know, none of the titled Amerindian villages has convened such a meeting or passed such a vote." With Guyana positioning itself to be a global leader in the energy, climate, and food sectors, President Ali said leaders and the citizens of the country should be presenting what the country offers to the world rather than Guyanese. He gave the charge on Saturday evening while delivering an address at the La Primavera Banquet Hall in Ontario, Canada. President Ali was on a 3-day visit to the state and is expected to be in Guyana today. During his presentation, the head of state focused on the development and the investment opportunities that await the diaspora in Canada. He went on to note that a deep understanding is what is required for Guyanese to make the world better and more so for the country's prosperity to be shared with every citizen of the world. Meanwhile, a Venezuelan man was on Sunday stabbed to death outside a bar at Grove, East Bank, Demerara, while trying to stop an alleged thief from stealing his wife's purse. Dead is Oscar Sanchez. According to police, Sanchez was killed around 4 hours 30, reportedly by another Venezuelan man. Investigators learned Sanchez's wife, Ave Mariolene Torres, works at the bar, and after finishing her shift around just after midnight, they both began to imbibe with other Venezuelan nationals outside of her workplace. Detectives have since questioned a number of individuals in relation to the killing and have obtained video footage from the bar. And moving on, police are hunting a man accused of beating his common-law wife to death on Sunday morning at their home at Eidflut, West Coast, Demerara. The dead woman was identified as 48-year-old Bibi Nasifa, and on the run is her husband, a 29-year-old fisherman. According to information, Baksh died around 5 hours 30. We understand that the couple's relationship was filled with domestic issues that led to frequent fights and quarrels. On Sunday, one of their fights ended deadly. The couple reportedly started arguing with each other during a drinking session around 4 hours 30 yesterday morning. It escalated at Baksh's husband started beating her in front of her mother and a 12-year-old daughter. It is alleged that the man kicked her down a flight of stairs and reportedly kicked, cuffed, and dealt lashes to her body with a piece of wood. And coming from DPI, their government is set to commence construction of the first 20 of 50 homes in Sand Creek, South Rupununi, Region 9 as part of the Hinterland Housing Program. The initiative forms part of the commitment made by the President when he visited the area last year. Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, during an engagement with the residents of the village on Saturday, stated that the homes will primarily cater to vulnerable groups with a particular focus on the elderly. And that does it for your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.